Now we are holding the 16th meeting within the framework of the series of workshops Contemporary Area Studies. It is a project of the School of International Regional Studies of the Faculty of World Economy and International Affairs of HSC University. Our discussion will be devoted to the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic in Turkey. COVID-19 came late to Turkey on 11 March, but soon signed every corner of the country. With an amount of all 81 provinces had been affected. It was one of the fastest growing outbreaks in the world, first in China or the UK. There were fears that the death will soar, turning Turkey into another Italy, which was then the hardest hit country. But 3 months on that hasn't happened, and even without a total lockdown, Turkey has advantages in the fight against COVID-19, including a young population and a high number of ICU beds. Despite this, new cases continue to be recorded. Currently, if I'm not mistaken, it's about at the rate of 1,000 persons per day. While the country is being seen a success story, there is still plenty of caution because the story isn't over yet. The level of pandemic destructive impact on Turkey's economy is still uncertain, and the situation unfortunately remains tense. So we'll discuss it with our key speaker today, Dr. Argun Başkan. He's a doctoral lecturer at the Department of International Relations, Ege University in Turkey. According to his biography, Dr. Başkan made his bachelor's degree in international relations at Ege University in Turkey. Then master's degree in international relations and European studies in University of Kent in the United Kingdom, and then master's degree in European Union and 9 Eylül University in Turkey, and international relations degree in Middle East Technical University, one of the famous universities of Turkey, especially for us, for me, a researcher. So he's also author of numerous publications on international security, Eurasia politics, politics of energy and natural resources, comparative politics, and etc. Hocam, bizimle olduğunuz için ve davetimizi kabul ettiğimiz için çok teşekkürler. Bu bizim için büyük bir onur. Online with us also today, Dr. Vera Vishnyakova, the head of the School of International Regional Studies of the Faculty of World Economy and International Affairs of the HSC University. And our special guests, I think she will join us later. It's Dr. Nigar Masumova, Deputy Dean of the School of International Journalism of the MGIMO University and Associated Professor of the Department of World Economy and World Economy School of International Relations of the MGIMO University. Then Dr. Amur Gadjiev with us now, Director of the Center for the Study of Modern Turkey of the Institute of Oriental Studies of the Russian Academy of Sciences. It's also with us should be today Altuna Aliyev, research fellow, the School of World Politics at Moscow State University. And also our dear friends and colleagues, Elmira Imamkulieva, visiting lecturer of the School of International Regional Studies of the Faculty of World Economy and International Affairs of the HSC University, and scientific fellow at the Institute of Oriental Studies of the Russian Academy of Sciences, and Dr. Rinat Karamuzov, professor of the Department of Economics and Geography of Asia and Africa at the Institute of Asian and African Studies at the Lomonosov Moscow State University. So, Dr. Vera Vishnyakova, now I give floor to you for welcome speech, and we will turn to after that we will turn to our speaker.
Okay, thank you, Murat. Thank you, everybody. I will be brief because we don't have a lot of time. Dear colleagues, friends, and guests of our seminar, firstly, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. On behalf of the School of International Regional Studies, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to Dr. Başkan, who generously agreed to take part in our seminar and to explain the real situation in Turkey. And I wish us, all of us, a fruitful meeting today. Thank you very much for joining. Murat?
Yes, Dr. Başkan, now the floor is yours. I will download your presentation in 1 minute. I'm sorry, I also have some problem with my connection.
I can already start now.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you very much for accepting me. It's really my honor to address the community of the Higher School of Economics in Moscow. Today, I will give a talk about the challenges of the coronavirus pandemic in Turkey. We may focus on your questions as much as possible so we have flexibility regarding the format on my side, at least. I will, my presentation has two parts. First, I will talk about the official perspectives, okay? What did the state say? What did the ruling party say? And then in the second part, I will talk about the perspectives from the opposition parties and civil society and other international perspectives as well. And that will be the end of the presentation. So firstly, I can say that I want to refer to research briefly conducted by the Johns Hopkins University in 2019. It's titled Global Health Security Index Finds Gaps in Preparedness for Epidemics and Pandemics. Very briefly speaking, this research found that no single country was prepared enough for a possible pandemic at the global level. So obviously this also includes the case of Turkey. Here, actually, literally, it says that this research suggests that not a single country in the world is fully prepared to handle an epidemic or pandemic. And this was again, this was a research published in October 2019. This is the global perspective that we need to keep in mind.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I didn't receive your mail, unfortunately.
I am retrying it in the background.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So we can safely say that no single country was prepared in late 2019. Okay, before the official announcement of the epidemic. Okay. Now moving to the Turkish official perspectives. Again, if you right now, actually, you may prefer to open up what I talk about online, because I will make direct references to the materials presented in the Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, mfa.gov.tr, and the title is Turkey's Enterprising Humanitarian Policy. I will primarily focus on what is set in the official statements, okay? And I will make my comments on that. Here, meanwhile, this very document is also available in Russian right now at the website of the Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Again, the title is Turkey's Enterprising and Humanitarian Foreign Policy, a synopsis. Here, Turkey's foreign policy is defined as taking place in a fragile geography. Plus, Turkey has spawned the 5th largest global diplomatic network, and plus, Turkey is a member of NATO, obviously, and Group of 20, G20. Here, these are the points that we should underline according to my interpretation. First, again, Turkey is officially declared in a fragile geography. It has the 5th largest global diplomatic network. It's a member of NATO, and it's a member of G20. These points will actually guide us to understand the rest of the official declarations regarding the coronavirus pandemic. Here, again, there are other references that Turkey is a part of Europe, literally speaking. And again, literally speaking, under the motto of the world is bigger than 5. Turkey has been advocating the reform of the United Nations and United Nations Security Council to meet the current needs of the world. Okay, this is the official foreign policy. Plus, furthermore, Turkey is a prominent member of the Turkic-speaking states, Turkic Council, and other specific groups. In fact, again, officially, in 2018, Turkey is the largest humanitarian donor in the world, the most generous country on the basis per capita humanitarian spending. Plus, Turkey hosts the largest number of external displaced people in the world. These are all official written statements, okay? By the way, I will make brief references to the specific relations between Turkey and the Russian Federation. whenever relevant. Okay, again, this is another official statement. Here it says Turkish Russian relations attained an institutional character with the establishment of high-level cooperation council in 2010, plus Turkish Russian relations follow the course of cooperation faced a serious test as a result of military activities related to the Syrian crisis. However, in line with the mutual desire of Turkish and Russian peoples, a normalization process was launched. Okay, and etc. etc. Now, after completing these general aspects of the Turkish foreign policy, I am moving to the specifics of the coronavirus period, pandemic period. Here, officially, the pandemic was announced on March 11 in 2020, obviously, and very first statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs came in reference to the NATO. Okay, here it says a specific announcement dated 2 April 2020, participation of the foreign minister in the NATO foreign ministers meeting, an online meeting. Here it says this was about the coronavirus pandemic, but also it says cooperation and solidarity with regard to the COVID pandemic will constitute the main agenda. So the very first contact of Turkey seems to have emerged through NATO regarding the coronavirus pandemic. Okay, as far as I could detect it. Another statement come again on the same day, early April, 2 April actually. This is an article published by the foreign minister in the Turkish foreign minister in the Washington Times. Again, it says Turkey is again living in a state of fragilities regionally, and it says humanity was struck by the coronavirus. Plus, Turkey, for one, had been making the case that we needed to reform the system. We called it that the world is larger than five agenda, referring to the outdated composition of the United Nations Security Council, but not stopping there. So Turkey official stated that list expressed its concerns about the coronavirus pandemic. Plus, it also repeated its policy proposal that the United Nations Security Council should be reformed. With the here there's an implicit suggestion that Turkey should be somehow included in the United Nations Security Council permanently, somehow. This is not very clear, but this is implied. Again, there's a secondary reference that G20, group of 20, should be included more in the process. Okay, and there are some tertiary suggestions about the status of Iran and extension of swap agreements between the United Nations and Turkey. So the point is, as you can say, I only talk about the basic objectives of the Turkish foreign policy, and again, you can get the impression that Turkey has already using, let's say, or benefiting, if we can choose the right word here, from this context to assert, to underline its already mentioned foreign policy goals. So COVID-19 pandemic can be both a gift and a, let's say, problem, depending on how you interpret it. So Turkey is using the pandemic process to positively and progressively defend its foreign policy objectives, okay? And plus, another important aspect is the creation of the International Coordination Group in early April. Here, Turkey attended this meeting alongside Australia, Brazil, Canada, France, Germany, Mexico, Morocco, Peru, Korea, and the United Kingdom. So Turkey is a group of specific countries, some 10 countries, titled International Coordination Group. Okay. Another international meeting. Turkey attended an international meeting. This is all about the coronavirus pandemic, actually. Mexico, Indonesia, Republic of Korea, and Australia. Once again, this group is called MIKTA, MIKTA. Okay, by the way. Again, there are consistent references to the NATO and WTO memberships of Turkey. Okay. From the very early April 2020, you will see references in the official media that Turkey has been sending medical supplies all over the world. Okay. And in the detail that I will mention soon, you will see that some of these supplies are donations for free, and some of them are actual sales by the government to other countries. Okay. There are some specific interesting mini events. Some of them are about Armenia. If you would ask a specific question about it, I can talk about it in detail. For example, there was a little dispute about the supply of Chinese supplies to Armenia and the use of Mount Ararat Andaz items. I'm skipping these details, but if you have specific questions, I can talk about them later, actually. Plus, again, in mid-April, the foreign ministry issued a statement that claims of the Greek Ministry for Migration and Asylum was mistaken. And it said that the Turkish foreign minister said that Greece is using the COVID-19 pandemic as an excuse to blame Turkey regarding Turkey's attitudes towards the migrants in connection with the EU's policy regarding the Syrian immigrants. Okay, I can talk about the details again based on questions. These are just the events. So far you can see that there were already some mini or medium level crises regarding Armenia and Greece. Okay, all in connection with somehow in connection with the COVID-19 epidemic. And there was another major statements, multilateral, and another aspect is a tertiary aspect. Turkey called a extraordinary meeting of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. This is another aspect of the foreign policy, official foreign policy again. And there was, I'm making brief references to in a chronological manner. These are all important developments in their own merits. In late April, there was a meeting of Astana process. Here, officially says at the meeting, the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic in the context of Syria was discussed. Okay, no details are provided. And there are also some, again, meetings with British and Russian counterparts by the Minister of Health. Here, on the website of the Health Ministry, you can officially say that Russia purchased supplies from Turkey. Okay, so it is not a donation, it's a trade business. And you can see that again, there are specific announcements. It says that Turkey provided supplies to some 80 countries all over the world. First figures stated that Turkey supplied to 57 countries, then the figure rose to 80 plus countries all over the world. However, we can see that at least some of these supplies were not, again, donations, but actual sales. And this is normal, actually, regarding the global context. One important aspect, a colorful aspect, is that a title from elmonitor.com, it says, Turkey enjoys public relations win with coronavirus aid shipment to the United States. One colorful aspect, we can say, is that a mayor from the ruling party sent masks to Hollywood and Trump as a sign of solidarity. Okay. So another let's say mini or medium level crisis came up regarding the case of Israel in early May 2010. Here another statement from the Minister of Foreign Affairs. It says that Israel continues to violate the rights of the people of Palestine, etc., etc., etc. And even in the sensitive periods, during which the whole world is in need of peace and stability while coping with the COVID-19 pandemic. So Turkey is criticizing Israel and placing this criticism in the wider context of the pandemic again. So you can see that already existing foreign policy objectives are easily integrated with the wider coronavirus, let's say, background. Another statement regarding in early May 2010. By the way, I'm approaching the end of my presentation, basically. Here it says, if Turkey were, literally speaking, if Turkey were a member of the European Union would be stronger and fight against not only coronavirus, but any threat much better. Okay, this is the European dimension. And just a second. Murat, can you please check your email right now? It should have arrived actually now, or in a few seconds. Please check your email. And when another reference to the Afghanistan in mid-May, here the foreign minister said that we condemn the terrorist attacks in Afghanistan in the holy month of Ramadan, and at a time when the effects of COVID-19 pandemic are intensely felt. Again, the specific issue is Afghanistan, but it is placed in the wider context of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay.
No, unfortunately, there is no letter.
It may arrive anytime soon.
Okay.
Okay.
I got it.
It's already from my side. And by the way, again, according to a statement published on the website of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Hans Kluge, World Health Organization Regional Director, commended Turkey's response efforts against COVID-19 and for its international solidarity and leadership. Here, so it says that the ministry actually says that World Health Organization officially celebrated Turkey's performance dealing with the crisis. This is an important point. And more interestingly, it says that the organization said, I quote, Ministers of Health of Turkey Council, which was held 2 weeks ago, are telling me how much they appreciate Turkey's solidarity. I thank you for this great example of international solidarity and leadership. This is what the Turkish Ministry of Health says about WHO's regional director. Okay. One other remarkable aspect is that came again mid-May. Here it says the foreign minister himself officially said that strong solidarity with other countries during coronavirus pandemic consolidated perception of a strong and reliable Turkey. And he also added that it was the first time that such positive news appeared in the press about our country. We are not saying that everything has been solved with all this, but we can say that there is a positive atmosphere. This is the official statement. Okay. And there are some other, let's say, critical statements from the ministry regarding Greece, and there were other examples. And there was another important meeting in mid-2010, a quadrilateral meeting of the foreign ministers of Turkey, the United Kingdom, Germany, and France. Here it says, okay, right now I am on slide 79. Okay, can you check it, please? Slide 79. 79. Yes, that one, thank you. Yes, okay. You can see the underlined points. Finally, we can see things online. Thank you. Here it says that at the meeting, again, joint steps in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic, and in particular Syria, Libya, and Iraq were discussed in detail. And in the next slide, yes, the other one, please. Our fight against that one, thank you. That fight against the coronavirus, yes, that one. Here, the Minister of Health says that cooperation and responsibility from all sides has brought us success. The falling number of new cases is a demonstration of success. And in the next slide, you can see that there's another brief mention of cooperation between Russia and Turkey. This is a detail, actually. Turkey and Russia have talked about the possibility of vaccine production. And in the next slide, again, these are all official statements. Okay, I'm quoting them. Coronavirus brought EU and Turkey closer. Okay. So, and next slides. So until now, I completed the first part of my talk. Here, I will continue with the second part, the non-official perspectives. Okay, part 2, 8 April. Yes, that one. Thank you. That slide. Yes. Again, very briefly speaking, these are the negative sides aspects. Again, here it says you can see this primary sources here. You can see that during the pandemic, the proportion of domestic violence increased, plus xenophobia and anti-refugee sentiment has risen. Okay, you may debate these points in detail in their own merit. And next slide, please. Again, underlying diseases. These are all negative or critical perspectives from the rather non-pro-government press. Again, you can say that again here in the title. You see that underlying diseases of Turkey's economy, which were swept under the carpet, worsened in the pandemic period. And there's a brief reference to Russia at the end, but it's not very high priority now. And next slide, please. Again, officials again. Turkey does not have the capacity to manufacture massive quantities of coronavirus vaccines. Even if the country's scientists develop it, this is a technical detail. And next, again, we can speed up after this point, actually. I'm just presenting supportive agreements all in a line. Here, Turkish economy to shrink by 40%, and especially while special tourism will suffer again. And in the next slide, this is a rather actually a critical and detailed story. I will just summarize it in briefly. You can read the full details in the presentation now or later. Here, the point is that the writer argues that there is an internal power struggle in the ruling party. And this internal struggle among the party's elite became publicly visible for the very first time in the panic which occurred on April 13. Here in the first sentence, you see that last Friday evening in Turkey, a surprise 48-hour curfew was announced and a new measure, and the sudden announcement of the full lockdown, of course, led to a massive panic and etc., etc., etc. So because of this, the Minister of Internal Affairs resigned, as it seems, according to the mainstream interpretation, but his resignation was not accepted by the president. And again, in a big summary, all these stories shows that there is the seriousness of the ongoing internal elite fragmentation inside the ruling governing party. Okay, this was a turning point actually regarding the Turkish political culture. Again, we can talk more depending on your questions. And next here, this was the issue was at the very core of the criticisms against the government. Here, the major opposition party, CHP, again, slammed the government since that sending coronavirus aid to a number of countries when Turkish people can't get masks. They could not distribute 5 masks again to the people in the past month, but they sent planes of full masks to Britain, Spain, and Italy to show off, okay, and etc. This was at the core of the criticisms against the government from the opposition side. Basically, again, it says that the government failed to distribute masks to the whole Turkish population, but meanwhile, it was sending aid and supplies abroad, okay? And details again, and next slide, please. Yes, that one. This is an analysis. The title is explaining the point, actually. Turkey is facing its own coronavirus crisis, so why is it sending medical supplies to the United Kingdom? And in detail, you'll see that before the pandemic began, Turkey was attacking a complex crisis in broadly in Syria. The ruling party lost municipal elections in the two major states, and economy had been under stress. But with the pandemic, this crisis have all but forgotten a rare opportunity to promote its strength at home and to reconcile its image abroad. This is why Turkey has been sending supplies abroad, according to this analysis published in theconversation.com. Again, in the next slide, you see that, again, as additionally, a kind of new power politics is taking place to restore Turkey's status and image at a time where they were particularly tarnished by the situation in Syria. So you say that, no, the previous one. Yes, that one, thank you. So this was all about restoration of the official image of the government at a time when particularly tarnished by the situation in Syria. Okay. And next point, please. Another very big debate in Turkey. Will Turkey borrow from the IMF? And again, basically speaking, the government has been categorically against any deal. No, stay here, stay there. Yes, we are still at the same slide. Please stay. The government since 2002 has been categorically against making any deals with IMF and World Bank. But the argument is that the coronavirus crisis may actually force the government to make a deal with the IMF and the World Bank regarding external borrowing. And again, in detail, Turkey has special dealings with the United States and Qatar over massive transfer of capital. But again, this is a detail at this point. And next slide, please. We are actually approaching the end, fortunately. Again, Istanbul Medical Chamber warned the government against easing coronavirus measures prematurely. Again, you say that because the argument is that the government may be forced to ease the measures because of economic concerns in the domestic economy. Okay, this was the economic background to this argument. And next slide. This was, again, this is a detailed story. I can just make summary here. Here the point is that another criticism against the government, that the government could not deliver free and timely supply of masks and other equipment to the wider public in a consistent manner. Policies changed too much inside in a month. Okay, here you can say that there was an embargo on mask sales, then it was changed, and then some other changes regarding the details of their life. And the point is that there were inconsistent policies on whether surgical masks would be distributed for free. Again, this was at the heart of criticisms. We can skip these details of this part. And next story. There was this one. This is an international story, kind of international story. Again, a supply sent from Turkey failed United Kingdom standards found to be useless. this was another, actually this was a relatively minor case. This happened also in other countries, but this was the case again. But at the end of the slide, you see that ministers now face questions about whether the British public, whether the British money paid for the JIR will be recovered. Okay, actually this is a direct criticism against the British government for buying poor quality equipment in the first place. But this is also concerns Turkey, obviously, because this was all about, this is not a case of donation from Turkey to the United Kingdom. It was a sale from Turkey to the United Kingdom. Here, and in the next slide, the next slide, please, and next one, next slide. Here, it says United Kingdom officials, is that one? Yes, here it says United Kingdom officials contacted a Turkish firm, which was previously actually was not very experienced in producing this kind of medical supply, and these are the details. Okay. And next, please. Next and next. This was again. This could be accepted as a minor situation, and actually it is. But again, it has some symbolic connotations, maybe depending on the interpretation. Here it says that Armenian church in central Istanbul, in Bakırköy district, was attacked by a man who had mental problems, and the Turkish Armenian Patriarchate actually appreciated the help of the police. By the way, in a big parenthesis, I can say that Turkish Armenian community seems to be having positive perceptions about the ruling party since the very beginning. Okay, and I and the parenthesis here. Another colorful and very public concern: the opposition parties, Istanbul municipality, criticized the early start of the National Soccer League. This is a very big issue in Turkey, socially speaking, if not diplomatically. Another big story regarding the relations of the opposition. At the next slide, please. Next slide. The opposition party again criticizes the government for decreasing the opposition parties' municipalities' resources, especially in Istanbul and Ankara. Here, the opposition party's mayor says that these restrictions on the municipalities' resources are politically motivated. The government officially actually forbid the opposition party's mayors to undertake donation campaigns. This was a big debate again in Turkey regarding domestic and somehow international politics. And next, this is another symbolic aspect. We can talk about this in detail later, maybe. Here, diplomacy news again. Russian army disaffects Turkish vehicles that entered government-controlled territory in Syria. And under the picture, you can say that Turkish and Russian troops carry out the 10th joint patrol along a key highway in Syria. This is all about Syria, the reflection of the situation in Syria again. And next, a very big criticism actually. Turkey's top medical association has warned that, again, coronavirus is not under control as the reproduction rate above critical threshold, in contrast to the official statements of the Ministry of Health that I just previously mentioned. Okay, this is a very source of, let's say, debate or criticism. Here, please stop there. The Turkish Medical Association says that Turkey cannot declare that it has brought the pandemic under control. This is a scientific debate, actually, between the ministry and this Turkish Medical Association. These are, and next, again, supplementing stories. We can skip this part. Next, and next. Please, okay, let's stay here. Another very big domestic issue was the parole law, which has been debated for months or years. Actually, the criticism from the opposition is that the government and its ally party, Turkish Nationalist Party, somehow in an opportunistic manner and silently passed a recent law which was introducing parole law to notorious mafia leaders and other serious criminals as a part of a hidden agenda. It says that, again, the overall noisy COVID-19 background was used as a pretext to somehow silently pass this parole law, which could be otherwise could raise a lot of criticism. Again, criticism about opportunism, actually, from the opposition side. And next, same supportive stories. And next, please. Next. Again, Turkish ministers, we can say that tourism is a very big source of income for Turkey, and it says that the Turkish minister is opening up for international tourism by mid-June, which is now actually about now. This is all connected with the economy, the very big question here in the background. And next, the critical analysis says that these full actions of the government versus the opposition perspectives actually triggered a new wave of polarization and a deliberate demonization of the opposition. Again, in summary, another, again, in brief, another criticism from the opposition says that the government has been manipulating news, a narrative according to which the opposition is plotting a new coup conspiracy, and the religious affairs directorate has been inquiring with bar associations on the legitimacy of underage marriages. This is this is a debate about the, let's say, Islamic perspective versus secular perspective regarding the underage marriages. Again, I am summarizing very briefly. And there's also also another aspect regarding the rise of the LGBT community in Turkey, lesbian, gays, bisexuals, and transsexuals. Again, and stay there, please. Turkish government scapegoats LGBTI community for COVID-19 pandemic. This is here you can say that this came from the top Muslim cleric, official cleric in Turkey. He said that same-sex relations are responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic. And in the next paragraph, you says that the Ekaterini says that there is a strong suspicion of the deliberate underreporting of the COVID-19 cases in Turkey. And in the last paragraph, you says that this very top cleric is the head of the supersized bureaucracy for promotion of political Islam at home and abroad. Again, as an example of criticism. Again, finally, we are at the conclusion here. There are different perspectives, obviously, to take into consideration. And again, if we remember what I just said in the very first slide, there were no perfect case of governmental responses to the COVID-19 process, COVID-19 epidemic. Again, and to repeat, there are different perspectives to take into consideration. We should not rush into, let's say, generalizations. And this is, again, this whole COVID-19 pandemic is an ongoing process. We didn't reach the end yet. And there will be a time that we should take a step and look back to make more comprehensive analysis about this current issue. So this is the end. Thank you for listening. I hope, next slide, thank you. This is official, thank you. I hope my talk was more or less relevant for your interests. again, thank you. I would like to thank the Higher School of Economics community. Okay, I'm done. Finally.
Thank you so much, Professor Başkan. It was really so great and interesting, and I think it's date by date information. It's also, we should frankly state that it's our first experience when some experts give us day by day experience. And it's really a great pleasure. So, a great source of information. Now, unfortunately, one of our experts, Amur Gajiv, should go because due to some disease. Now he has some other events and etc. So now we are going to move to our question and answer session, and one of our participants, Irina Chepaikina, she wants to ask a question, as I understand. Irina, please.
Irina, hello.
Yes, hello. Hello, dear colleagues. I actually have quite a short, but for me, quite an interesting question. First of all, thank you so much for the meeting, for providing us with latest information about the situation in Turkey. Actually, what I wanted to ask is about fake news on Turkish TV. Did you notice many fake news, many pieces of fake news on TV during the pandemic? Because here in Russia, we had not only a bit exaggerated panic, but also some strange things like smokers are completely protected against coronavirus, etc. So some, I would say, are not very realistic things that people tend to take into consideration. So was there many fake news on Turkish?
Actually, I can send this specifically right about this. There's a Turkish website detecting fake news in Turkey. Actually, it is perед.org. There were such cases. There was actually a whole fake movie, a whole news clip created by a kind of amateurs. But I can say there were not many fake news. If we exclude the opposition's claims that the government has been underreporting the number of cases, the cases of ill people in the first place. So if we assume that, if we accept that the government has been properly reporting the number of cases as, let's say, somehow confirmed by the World Health Organization. On my regarding on my personal viewership of the TV, I can see that there were not many fake news. But this your question is an important one, and again, that website that I just mentioned, perед.org, may provide more insight because they really carefully examine the stories there.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Irina, for your question, and Professor Başkan for your answer. Now we have another question from our special guest, Elmira Imamkulieva. She wants to ask that, which Middle East country, from your point of view, had the most conscious approach to stopping COVID-19 pandemic?
You ask about the best performance.
Yes, which
as
country?
I understand, right?
Which country have a best performance in stopping COVID-19? Professor?
Do you hear now? The screen is frozen. Okay, I'm talking. According to my very, let's say, apart from Turkey, let's say, we can say that Germany seems to have achieved some visible success. Again, but this is a subjective and personal interpretation, what I can see on international media. I will say, but again, in general, countries with effective governance structures deal better with this crisis in general speaking. And we can again assume that most countries of the European Union have rather effective governance structures. So Germany seems to be a successful case based on, again, a personal and subjective interpretation on my side.
Yes, thank you. But as I understand, our participants outlined which countries from Middle East Middle East region, not whole countries.
Sorry, Middle.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't understand the point. Middle East.
It's a hard question.
I didn't come across one specific case praised by the international media that I follow as much as I follow, but I would say maybe Israel. Because Israel has a democratic and relatively speaking let's say European style or European stylish government structure. So we may say that Israel, but I don't have a clear answer for this specific question regarding the Middle East.
Okay, thank you.
I could say Germany, but Middle East is a different story.
Okay, thank you, Professor. I should add that if you are really interested in this question, Elmira, you should maybe highlight the situation in Jordan, because according to the latest media news, according to the specialists and World Health Organization, the Jordanian case is one of the successful in the Middle East, because the government and the royal guard, they can control it, and they had already, how to say, ended the situation successfully. So now I want to give floor to our special guest, Dr. Rinat Karamurzov. Maybe he have some questions, or he has some questions or comments, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Murad. Professor Argun, thank you very much for your report. Well, since I'm not an expert in the issues you were talking about, I think I can ask such maybe a bit naive question. So my question is, what is the net balance for the government? I mean, do you think will it or did it already benefit from their actions during this period? I mean, the pandemic. Do you think will they get more voters or?
So I couldn't hear some parts of the question because of the interruption, but you are asking whether the government was more or less successful in general.
Not taxes. I didn't say about the tax.
Could you please repeat or maybe you will write it? And
okay. Okay, I'll write it.
You asked that the Turkish government was rather successful or not?
Yeah, kind of. Yes. The idea.
Here in this very particular speech, I am trying, my intention is to rely on the official statements, okay, from the government and experiences, some are positive, some are negative, but that would complicate this whole presentation. I can say, again, back to my slides regarding the WHO's regional director's speech, as quoted by the Minister of Health. Turkish Minister of Health says that WHO congratulated the government for its solidarity, performance, and leadership in this process. So basically, assuming that WHO is a reliable source for making such performance assessments, and considering that the WHO basically celebrated the Turkish government, we can say that the Turkish government has been rather successful.
Okay.
But you need to keep in mind the parameters that I mentioned. in order. Okay, I know these are the official perspectives. But I can say, I can talk about people's daily issues, but that will be a whole different story. Again, with many personal details and as such. I'm talking about only the general aspects here.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And obviously, my talk is not exhaustive. This space requires many other analysis. This topic.
Okay, I see.
Now, okay.
Okay, thank you for your question, Professor Karamurzaev. Now I want to give floor to Professor Vishnyakova. Maybe she has some questions, and also our, main question to all our experts. Please.
Very interesting to know about the current situation in Turkey, and I have some questions. As I'm a professor in our university, and as a teacher, I want to know about the distance education. Yes, do you have online education as in Russian or as in Russia or in other countries? It's my first question. The second question is how many hospitals will the Turkish government build after the pandemic or during the pandemic, or how many hospitals are going to build, because you know that there are a lot of new hospitals are built in China and in the process of building in Russia. This is my second question. And the third question is about the international situation, about the Russian and Turkish cooperation. What do you think, how to change our cooperation in such spheres as the building of nuclear power plant, Какое,
yes.
Какое, and in the project connected with Turkish stream. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I couldn't, again, there was some interruption in the voice. I could only catch some parts. I think you asked about the practices of online education during the process, right?
Yes. How it is realized, how does realized this process in Turkey now?
Okay. The top body for this is the Turkish higher education of education. At the in late March, all regular classes were cancelled, and after that point, there were the highest body of education allowed the universities to take their own specific solutions and regulations in the process. For example, in my own very personal experience, I continued my online teaching first with Zoom, then Microsoft Teams, and after that, our university created a whole new online space for online teaching. So, speaking for myself, and let's say, I could complete the semester with online teaching, regular teaching, without actually going to the classes in the university building. And again, based on my personal experience, I delivered an online exam, and I will also deliver an online exam 2 weeks later. So I can say that we could somehow manage to adapt to this situation, in my case and in my university's case. But again, regarding the broader perspective, regarding your question, the higher body of education, again, allowed the universities to take their own decisions. So you can say that differing performances, even inside the same universities. You can say that a specific department is doing that, and another specific department is doing another something. So this is what happens. Again, there are too many details. There's not a one big pattern here.
Yeah.
And regarding the hospitals, to my best knowledge, there was a totally new hospital was not constructed. Okay. And regarding your third question, regarding the nuclear power, this is regarding the popular aspects, popular attitudes regarding the construction of nuclear power. You can see power plants by Russia or Japan or somebody else. You can say that the public mood is more or less okay. There's no big green opposition about this topic. Right now, after Fukushima, this process of construction of nuclear plants was put on a pause. Still, they are stopped, de facto stopped. But as I understand, this process will continue sometime later in the future. The process of the experience of Fukushima was a turning point not only for Turkey, but also again for Germany and other countries as well, globally speaking, and even Japan itself, of course. And regarding the Turkish stream, Turkey is one of the geographically suitable transition locations between Russia and Europe to deliver Russian gas to Europe. So I can say that regardless, more or less, regardless of the developments in Syria, so to speak, Turkish and Russian energy cooperation will continue. Being that Russia is the biggest supplier country, and Turkey is a important transit country. That's what I can say, generally speaking.
Okay, thank you very much. And I have one more question. Sorry, Murat. Yes.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yes, it's connected with the support of business. What action does the Turkish power do for supporting to support business, small and average business?
There is again, as far as I can see, there was one big plan to support the business. Both the private actions taken in some rough order. And by the way, there is also an official charity campaign was announced by the government to collect money from the public to support government activities. So there's not a one big plan. We can.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you very much for your answer.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Please.
I see some questions in the chat, but that they disappear.
Yes, it's a problem. I also can't check now because, as I saw, there was a question from Miss Bagalubova or Bratalubova. Maybe she with us and she can ask.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes, Ksenia. We are so sorry, but your question has disappeared. I don't know why.
Yet here is, I can see the question.
Could you please read
yes.
this?
Could you please, Ksenia Bradalubova, yes, Professor Argun, could you please comment on the average mood in Turkish society? How people accept all restrictions and are ready to follow them?
Yes, I please comment on the average mood in Turkish society. This social surveys. So I will just talk about my perceptions. Here in my city, people seem to be adopting to the conditions. And as 2 days ago, actually, curfew restrictions were removed. Right now, you can see many people walking outside. But this is what you can see on the cities. But again, the key concern is about the economy, whether the small and medium-sized businesses will survive next month or in the summer, because there were series of curfews. People were somehow, let's say, silent. Okay, they had to stay in their houses, and now they will begin to go outside. They will continue their business activities. We will see the actual picture sometime in the late summer.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your question, Ksenia, and for your answer, Professor Başkan. So now I also should mention that finally our colleagues, expert Altınay Alieva, join us. Nice to meet you here. Yes, now I want maybe Altınay, if you let me, I firstly ask the question of our participant, and after that I will give you speech. Okay?
I just a question from Alexei.
Yeah.
I couldn't read.
Yeah. Dear organizers, perhaps two domestic questions, but questions that interested me. Did you hear me?
Yes, I can see the.
Oh, okay. You can in this time. Are there any problems in Turkey with obtaining means of self-isolation? Have prices for masks and antiseptics risen? Does the Turkish government manage to give masks to the population of the country for free?
Actually, you can see the specific details about this. Are there any questions? Yes, there were problems, obviously, just like in the whole world. Again, I talk about the official and non-official perspectives. You can reach your own judgment at some point. Have the prices for masks and antiseptics risen? First, there was some rise. Then, after that, the government actually banned the sale of the masks. The government said that it will deliver the masks by post and by free, but after that, that policy was reversed. Right at this point, the masks are sold, and there's an upper price limit for that. For example, a mask cannot be more expensive than 1 Turkish lira, which is a symbolic price. We can say that as of now, the prices are cheap, and the government is not delivering free masks, and we are allowed to buy population of the country for free. Again, you can make your own judgment from the different perspectives. It was no, but that policy was changed, and now we are allowed to buy once more. So that's the point.
So thank you for your answer. Dear colleagues, if you have questions, please ask.
Me?
No, I mean to our participants. Yeah. So if there is no question, I used my privilege as a moderator.
Yeah. Do you want to? Do you have a question?
Yes, I have a lot of questions. Frankly, I think that now it's my turn. No. I'm so sorry for that. But firstly, I want to ask about the as a specialist in politics, in political science and international affairs, and especially in Middle East and North Africa, I really so interested in the question of soft power in Turkey. We see that now Turkey government, Turkey officials, they use the situation with pandemic as a tool for, how to say, warming relations with some countries. For example, the relations between Israel and Turkey. We know that both countries, both sides sends to each other cargo planes to deliver some aid, and it's really interesting situation because it's, as I remember, it's the first plane landing in Turkish airport from Israel the last 10 years. So it's so interesting. And also the situation with some different countries, how, as you mentioned in your presentation, how they improve relation with United Kingdom because the situation was also not good before this, and etc. And after that, I will...
He's frozen. You have frozen.
Me or? I'm so sorry. Today the connection is so bad, and
You. Yes. About the last.
Yes.
Yes. Right. Please. Could you ask?
Okay, my question is about how Turkey did Turkey use do Turkey use soft power in terms of pandemic? I mean, how it used to, especially with Israel and in other countries, to warming their relations, restore relations maybe.
I have also referred to this point in my one of my slides. Yes, thank you for the question. This is a very important discussion point. Regarding on the increasing number of positive assessments about Turkey in international media, we can say that Turkish soft power has risen in the coronavirus pandemic. Okay, and this, if we can use that kind of measurement, okay. This again, this very measurement was again quoted by the Minister of Foreign Affairs himself. He said that there are many positive reviews of Turkey in international media in this period, so our perception is getting better, which means that Turkish official soft power has risen in this period. And regarding the Turkish-Israeli relationship, there is not one single big change, at least visibly. But again, this process easing of the relations, if not worsening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we can say that.
Mm-hmm.
So Turkish-Israeli relations are always tricky. It is always a point of discussion in domestic politics. Whenever the issue of Israel comes up, somebody criticizes automatically. So we can say that at the very least, the relationship remained the same, somehow stable, and there's some chance that it will actually improve slightly in the short term because of the coordination and solidarity effects of Turkey at the international level.
So thank you so much. Now I want to give floor to our expert Altuna Alive. Please, maybe you have some comments or question.
Hello everyone. Hello Professor Başkan. Thank you for your speech. I'm so sorry for my belated connection to the discussion, but yes, I have a question, and I wonder what about any governmental support, any programs, campaigns that to give Turkish citizens stuck abroad in foreign countries, any help, any financial support, any kind of support, if there is something, or any of them. Do you know it?
Sorry, can you repeat the whole question?
What about governmental support to the Turkish citizens abroad that stuck in foreign countries?
You mean financial support to
financial
Turkish
or
diaspora?
any kind of support?
Yes. Again, the official says that Turkey sends supplies to more than 88 countries. And And if you look at the details, you can say that to the example I saw many years ago, Turkish deliveries were given to the Tatars living in Lithuania.
Yeah.
Okay. Even apart from that, I didn't see one specific case of financial support to the Turkish citizens playing.
Will change. What is the fate of globalization? Will be the globalization, or maybe the process of area, the process of what do you think about it?
This is some kind of fortune telling,
Yeah.
but I can say that most things will be the same. But only one very big source of change can occur in the United States if Donald Trump brings back American steel manufacturing business back to the United States, to Detroit, to Chicago. He has been delivering that kind of promises to bring back American jobs back to the United States from China, from India. That will be a big source of change. I'm not sure that that would actually happen, but if that doesn't help, I don't see a very major source of change. We can only some gradual shifts. For example, the United States, at least this Republican president, has diminished US support to the financial support to the World Health Organization. European and other countries stepped forward to fill that gap.
Yeah.
But in the next elections or the other ones after the next elections, we can see a new president from the Democratic Party who would re-improve the relationship between the United States and the United Nations. Okay, a new president from the Democratic Party may reverse this whole process in support of globalization. But again, to summarize, if American business does that, take a big turn, again, to reverse their ties with China, I don't think a very big change will occur, actually, in the globalization process.
We'll see. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your questions.
Welcome. Come back.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so sorry for this disability in connection. Really, unfortunately, I hope and I believe that our communication and our discussion today will be more fruitful. And now it's okay, but due to some connection problem, yes, again, some problems.
Maybe.
I just want to sum up. I hope that I have enough time. Yes. So, Renat, Professor Karamurza, I'm so sorry, colleagues. I think now it's time to sum up. First of all, let me thank you, Professor Başkan, for your overwhelming speech. It was really so great. Thank to our experts because they command the question also was so interesting and I think novel. And we should also mention that Turkey is one of the vital partners for Russian Federation. And it's important not only for our academic sphere, for us like academician, for our researchers and etc., but also in practice because our economy so close with Turkey, and some impacts on COVID, after pandemic in Turkey will affect also the Russian Federation. And it's also, everything is important and vital. So I hope we will continue our fruitful discussion and fruitful cooperation with Professor Başkan. It's a great pleasure and great honor that you accept our invitation. So thank you for your answer, for your questions, because answers, because it was really something interesting, like an opposite view from the official government or from some non-official non-pro-government medias, because it's the only resources. So, and as we said, that our seminars, contemporary area studies, is a key for us to gain a new information from primary resources. Today, our primary resources was you, and I hope I hope our colleagues also like this discussion. So, in this, I think, how to say, in that happy moment, I want to end our discussion, and one more time thank to Professor Vishnyakova for his support our seminars and to be with us, for our expert Altuna Alieva to join us, Professor Renat Karamurzav, firstly for his support to organize this meeting, because as I know, Professor Karamurzav and Professor Başkan are a close friend. Thank you for this connection, and of course for Irina, our guests, and she's how to say, spent a lot of times during our seminars with us and ask a lot of good questions. So thank you so much, and I wish you a good weekend.